Pam was an orphan living in a small village in Borneo. She was left to roam the streets alone at 4.5 years old. She was terrified of the dogs that would constantly bark at her. When she was found, she had a towel with her, presumably for comfort, as well as to shield from the sun. When I met Pam, I was told she was refusing to eat. When I looked down at the little girl in my lap, I was drawn in by her big brown eyes, and I knew I had to do something for her. Pam wasn't a human child. Pam was a Bornean orangutan who had been taken from her mother and sold as a pet. When you discover, like I have, over the course of my career, caring for and conserving orangutans, that we share so many similarities, you too will understand what makes us truly human. This is my story of love and hope. There seemed to be no one that cared about Pam until she was rescued by the Orangutan Foundation International and taken to the Quarantine and Care Centre. There, Pam was cared for. Pam should have been still breastfeeding from her mother, a mother she would stay with for up to 10 years. A long time when you think about it. Not many wild orangutans would live into their 30s or 40s. And how does a village get an orangutan as a pet? And I use the term pet very loosely here, because they can. They are treated like a commodity. There are hundreds, thousands of orangutans that have literally been pulled from their mother's breast when their mother has been killed. And why? Why are they murdered? Displaced, hunted, taken, their habitat destroyed to make way for palm oil, timber, all of this for those pets on the illegal trade in wildlife, $1 billion industry. I've had the opportunity to look into the eyes of an orangutan, hold my hand close to theirs, study the similarities of our fingerprints. I've watched a mother orangutan cradle her newborn offspring as it breastfed. I've also seen the scars inflicted from a machete and from a gun. When we think of humanity, we can break it down to simple acts of compassion. I have a burning passion for our closest living relatives, the apes, the orangutans that we share 97% of their DNA with us. This species of great ape, the orangutan, is likely to go extinct in my lifetime, in your lifetime, if we don't act now. My travel plan to Borneo was perfectly timed due to Perth Zoo about to embark on a world first, the release of a zoo-born orangutan to Sumatra. My colleagues had been preparing Tamara, a mother-raised orangutan. So this posed some questions. How do the orangutans in Indonesian rehabilitation centres that haven't learned those skills to survive in the wild become equipped? As the largest arboreal primate, how do they know to move their large bodies through the trees? What branches will hold their weight? How will they find the food to sustain them through their lifetime? And being partly raised by humans, not go straight into the arms of a poacher and not go to the ground where predators like tigers prowl. I prepared an independent study project through Murdoch University where I was studying conservation biology, and I set off to Borneo. I knew I needed to find those individual orangutans that I would draw comparisons on. So I arrived in Borneo and was welcomed by 300 orangutans, all of which were displaced by habitat destruction and the pet trade. And I met Pam. The first time I laid eyes on Pam, she was surrounded by other orangutans between 4 and 18 months old in baskets. They were having their bottle of milk. Pam was best suited to this area, even though she was 4, due to still needing the similar skills to survive. She didn't eat, she didn't drink. I went into the room and I sat on the cold tiles, a very welcome relief from the heat. Little Pam pressed herself against my thigh. I'd brought some yummy foods with me and also her bottle of milk. I offered these to little Pam and she curled up her lip, an obvious sign of refusal. I knew I had a way to go with Pam. A week into my time with Pam, I'd taken a drink from my water bottle. I left it down just within Pam's reach, and I moved a few metres away. When I looked back, Pam was taking a drink from the same bottle. So I thought, this is interesting. So the following day, I came prepared. I pretended to eat from a cucumber and left it just within Pam's reach. Pam picked up the cucumber and started to eat it. I then did the same with a banana, and the following day her bottle of milk. As we started to build trust, Pam started to eat and drink what I ate and drank. One morning I heard the most distressing sound, and I realised it was little Pam. I went to the wooden cage that she slept in at night, and when I opened the door, Pam rushed out and just clung herself to me. As much as this broke my heart, it also meant Pam was starting to care. She was starting to care about the other orangutans, to go and explore. And she also wasn't alone. All of the orangutans often cried. They didn't have mothers after all, and the human caregivers didn't stay with them overnight. One time when going out into the forest, I felt Pam's hand in mine. Every morning I'd taken Pam's hand, yet this morning Pam took my hand first. It was really important for Pam to also get moving and get to befriend other orangutans. And so I wanted to try and mix it up. I tried to climb a tree. I wasn't very successful. I obviously didn't spend long enough on the monkey bars. So a little sun bear cub named Lucky was also being rehabilitated at the centre. And little Lucky certainly got Pam up the tree. And Pam needed to understand she was an orangutan. I was there to try and give Pam that nurturing aspect, but she really needed to get to know other orangutans and at least tolerate them within her proximity. So what did all of this change for me when it came to my time at Perth Zoo? I had a more authentic voice, and we were better equipped to know how to prepare those zoo-born orangutans for release. And also, having seen so many of the impacts from the pet trade and those animals, the orangutans that have been displaced, know what we need to do more for their habitat. And so my time with Pam was coming to an end. I left and came back to Perth Zoo. I knew the reality for many of the 300 orangutans was that they may never go back to the wild. Their little bodies, their little minds were too impacted from those years on the pet trade. I was just at least so happy that I left Pam, a more confident individual. And she finally cleared quarantine with food in her belly and tolerance of other orangutans. I promised Pam that I would visit again soon. Sadly, I never kept this promise. Pam died shortly after I left. The 4 years of neglect was too much on Pam's little body. I was devastated and felt the hugest sense of loss. But Pam's love has sustained me through my life and my career. We don't have to witness the extinction of orangutans in the wild. We all have a choice. Find it in your hearts to talk about them, learn about them, and make a difference, no matter how small. Due to that time with Pam, I've gone on to work with an amazing team at Perth Zoo with a combined passion for this species. I've gone on to release an orangutan to the wild. I've also helped raise vital funds for orangutans and other species. But most of all, Pam has allowed me the opportunity to constantly reflect on what it means to love, on what it means to be loved, and how simple that can be, how simple it should be. To be loved simply and effortlessly was all Pam really needed. And when she could trust, love was what she gave. And what could be more human than that? Thank you.